Yeah, hey everybody, this is Ian from mindfulmarketplace.com, and it is the 15th of June, 2020. And this series that I've been recording for YouTube called Serve and Scale, where we look at questions around what can you borrow to build, what can you leverage to launch, what makes you look like a superhero, a magician, or a wonderkin in your niche market, vertical industry, or local community. I've been recording these videos with the intention of showing some alternative ways for building a brand and cultivating a community and starting a platform without using something like WordPress, right? So many folks, especially in my audience, are really tethered to this idea of using WordPress to build, blogs, brands, communities, etc. And there are many superior tools, software as a service, uh, you know, different, just different platforms that you can borrow to launch something great. So, a couple things that I'm going to say here quickly, and then I'm going to show you exactly what we're using in the summer of 2020 to power our platform going forward. Because lots of people ask me, like, what do you recommend? What are you using? What do you think the best tools are right now, the best tech right now to launch something, right? And most folks are trying to build the same things that we're trying to build, which is a community of clients, of fans, of followers, and paying members across a platform. So, one is I'm going to stop sharing these videos on YouTube, and I'm pretty much going to only stick to the stuff, or I'm going to create content for my own community. I'm just finding YouTube is really not a great strategy for me. Like we're not getting a lot of views, and it's just challenging. It's time consuming, and I'm just going to keep these videos, relegated to my own community where I know folks are interested in watching them and not in a public setting. So if you're interested going forward beyond the 15th of June, I'd recommend you sign up at the link below. All right. So number two is the tools that I recommend to those of you watching these videos are the tools that we're using, right? So, for an example, we just launched a new community blog, multi-author blog on our Mindful Marketplace community. It's right here. I just literally did this in the last 2 days, and Ghost, which I've been recommending for many of you for quite some time, makes building this style site super duper easy. I'm just going to show you. This is the back end, and I just launched this literally in the last few hours. And the advantage this has over something like WooCommerce or not WooCommerce, WordPress, um, is that it has all of the core functionality built in. So members, subscriptions, Stripe payments, newsletter, all of this, email marketing, all of this is built in to the platform without any plugins, without any extra configuration. It allows me to invite members, right? So I can go into the staff settings here, and I can invite people, right? So, if I want to invite, let's say, another one of my own email addresses, let's say hi@mindfulmarketplace.com, I could make this account an author, a contributor, an administrator, or an editor. We're just going to leave this at author, and I can send this invitation. And now in this case, I would get an invitation from me to start adding content to this blog. Now, this is particularly salient and relevant for this particular community because it's going to be a multi-author, multi-member community or content community where we are writing a book and publishing a platform around mindfulness in challenging times or mindfulness in a crisis. And essentially, I'm going to be asking, by dint of an email outreach campaign, I'm going to be asking people to participate in sharing their own thoughts, their own words, their own wisdom about what mindfulness means to them, how it lands in their lives, and how through these very challenging times, they've navigated this space as a mindfulness teacher, author, yogi, community leader, et cetera, et cetera. And that's the general theme, the tone, and the tenor of this particular community. Now, we're not trying to make money from this. This is not a profit play. This is actually a way of reaching out and building a brand around an important idea that we want to be part of, which is how to move forward in this universe as human beings and as a community and as a species in some way, and surviving and thriving as a collective, right? So, again, I'm not trying to make this into a profitable thing, but this piece of our platform anyway. But invariably, what's going to happen are people who want to write books and teach courses, we're going to connect with through this email outreach and inviting them to participate on our platform, are going to hire us to work on their entrepreneurial things down the road. It's just the way it works. It's not necessarily the animating motivation for doing all this. It is simply a benefit that comes down the road, is that we're going to end up with building relationships with people who want to work with us, right? So Ghost, that's something that we're using, that people ask, what are you using to build a community right now? So Ghost is one. Two, we're using, rather than WordPress for our membership program, for our affiliate program or email marketing, I use Podia, right? So this is a all-in-one solution for the the nuts and bolts of building a community without using something like WordPress. That's both it's both expedient and expeditious, in the sense that it's practical and it's useful and it's easy. We pay for this. It costs $79 a month. I get a little bit of a discount from Podia, but I promote this as an affiliate, so it's actually free. Like, I'm not really paying for this, because they pay me far more than I pay them on a monthly basis, simply because I'm so confident in Podia that we recommend it, right? And for recommending it, I get a commission. All right. And I recommend you do the same thing, right? In your brand, in your business, in your platform, right? So this is the blog and the members area. And again, it's all, powered by, by Podia. The other thing that we're using for teaching is Pathwrite, right? And Pathwrite is a phenomenal LMS, learning management system, for multi-author courses, right? So you can teach, courses that are shared. Pathwrite is really, really powerful in lots of ways. I'm not going to go into that here, because it's not really the target. I mean, you guys are generally not going to be building stuff on Pathwrite. But Pathwrite's awesome, and it really legitimately gives you superpowers as a course or community creator, because it allows me to build a school that really is almost tantamount, or the equivalent, or some rough approximation of a collegiate style LMS. Like, I can build a school on Pathwrite that is analogous to something that a real university may be doing, or may aspire to be doing. And especially in these very challenging times that we're living through right now, that's going to be really important, right? Because going forward, there's going to be a lot of remote learning. There's going to be a lot of distance learning, and a lot of people who are using, online education as a, as a brand building thing, or as a alternative to, in-person style, courses. All right. And we have this whole community here. Much of this is private. You can't see it, but now you see the back end. It's really, Pathwrite is really quite awesome. And I highly recommend it for those of you who are building these style sites. Now, the last thing I'll tell you that we're using that is really, really good is something like Elliot, right? So Elliot allows you to build. I'm not going to show you Elliot right now. Actually, I'll go to the Elliot main page, which you can see, I'm not going to show you our back end because there's numbers in there that I don't want to post on YouTube. But, this is the platform that we're using it's completely in beta right now, but we're using this to build a multi-vendor marketplace for our community. So people who want to sell and want to borrow our platform to sell their products, their services, we're going to be doing that on Elliott. Elliott's not perfect in some ways. I mean, it can be a little bit wonky, but it makes building a multi-vendor marketplace super duper simple, and it's all Stripe enabled, which allows you to, your members to get paid via Stripe. There's no plugins, there's no WooCommerce stuff. It's very, very easy, very simple, and I'm really impressed by what I've seen thus far with their future plans and what they have already built, primarily again for the multi-vendor marketplace functionality. As you can see, it's in a couple of days they're dropping a whole new. They're launching or releasing a whole new platform upgrade, and I mean what I've seen of that thus far has been really impressive as well. And I don't know that you can get access to this without being given access. Like I don't know that you can just sign up for Elliott. You may have to ask or request access. But again, I think on the 18th of June, which is only 2 days away at this point, everyone should publicly have access to this. So it may be useful to wait a couple days when it's released to the world. I would also say that Elliott's free. They charge a fee on transactions, and if you're building a marketplace, it's really, really, quite good at that specific thing, right? I know many folks in my audience are building marketplace style communities and using multi-vendor plugins with WordPress, or themes, et cetera. And I really think that is not the right path anymore. I think there are better ways to do that. And again, I recommend Elliott to those of you at this point who are looking to accomplish the same thing. All right, and lastly, something like Anchor, right, for podcasts. I mean, I just created this today for the new community blog, right? So I recorded an introductory, audio for our podcast. Anchor, which I believe is now owned by Spotify, makes this so ridiculously easy, and it offers all kinds of superpowers. You can have your members call in, or you can have your listeners call in, ask questions, add content to your podcast. If you're doing entrepreneurial stuff, which I've certainly done, a ton of, you can have people ask questions, right? So if you're creating courses or writing books or leading a community of any kind, you can actually ask your audience to ask you questions that are published on your podcast, and you can answer them, which gives you the sheen or the appearance of expertise and authority by, again, dint of giving people useful answers to questions that they need help answering. Okie doke. So those are really the core, tools that we're using now. I also recommend, we're also using other things, of course, like WordPress still. I still have a WordPress based content, blog on our mindfulmarketplace.com root directory, and things like MailChimp and all those other sorts of things. We use Gumroad a little bit as well, but in general, those are the four core components: Ghost, Shopify, Ghost, Podia, Pathright, and Anchor, and things like that. And I don't necessarily claim to have, all the right tools and tech at my fingertips at all times, but I do know that not overthinking this and not spending too much time trying to reinvent the wheel and come up with clever, solutions when really other expedient solutions are available is the key to doing this work the right way. Again, focus on content, focus on offers, focus on clients, focus on conversion, focus on creating community, not the tools and the tech, because that is generally where most of us trip up and fail. Okie doke. So I hope that's been helpful. Again, I'm not going to be doing a ton more videos for YouTube, it's just not worth my time and effort. I think it's almost like, it's almost like a drug, right? I mean, like YouTube is an easy way of getting a little bit extra attention and getting a little bit extra awareness of the things that you're doing and teaching, et cetera, et cetera. But for me, I've just found that I'm not getting back the, I just don't have the time to try to build a YouTube audience, nor do I really care. I'm not making money from this. And it's just not to get 50 or 80 or 100 people to look at something is just not worth the 30 or 40 minutes that it takes me to publish it. And, and I'm doing all this myself. I'm not hiring anyone to do this stuff. So it's just tiring and, not really worth my attention anymore. Okie doke, but I will be recording videos for my own community where those 100 people who will watch are watching it because they signed up and they paid, and they are, by definition, engaged members of our audience, not strangers who I don't know and who will most likely never know me. Okay, so thanks again for watching. Hope this has been helpful, and have a wonderful day.